Hello YouTube, week 39. Welcome back to another episode of our weekly workshop walkthrough videos. You didn't think because we're in the midst of fitting out our second workshop that we'd skip out on a weekly workshop walkthrough video, did you? Not a bloody chance. We've got far too much going on. Lots to catch up on, some that you've been watching and a couple of new ones. So if this interests you, stay tuned. Let me show you what we've got coming up in this episode. So we're going to catch back up on the 575 Cruisecraft Outsider. We are this close to completion. In fact, I think week 40 we'll see it on the water and back in the customer's hands. The wiring and the refit is all but complete. It's looking absolutely amazing. So we'll go through that, show you exactly where we're up to. Big Key West, it's done. We've done the water test, we've handed it over, delivered to the customer. It went absolutely perfect. That boat, definitely got a soft spot for it. The way that helm came up, the way it performed on the water, it was just one of those jobs where everything works. So super impressed, customers absolutely wrapped, and hey, I'm so stoked with the end result. Boys have done a terrific job. So got a bit of footage there from the water test. I'll run through that and show you exactly how all that went down as well. We had our own boat out of the water this week. Been 2 and a bit years without an anti-foul, so it was well and truly overdue. Breakway, it's a 35 Caribbean with all the fruit. You want to talk about over amortizing on boats. Yep, I'm definitely a culprit. But this year, yeah, new anti-foul, not too much else to do, but we have actually gone and fitted a new trim tab system to it. We removed our old Lencos. I just got absolutely sick of the growth on them, sick of going through rams seems every 2 years where we're chewing out an electric ram, which is not ideal. So we've chosen to go with the Humphree Lightning 450 system. I've seen these on lots of other much larger boats over the years and figured, hey, let's give them a go. They're on the boat and I've got to say I'm super impressed with them. Bang for buck, very, very good. Installation was quite straightforward as well. Did have to get the shipwright out there. The boss himself has been out on the boat. My transom has got a slight curve, or yeah, it's quite round at the back, and trim systems like that need a very flat surface within a couple of mils. So the shipwright's come out, Adam's come out himself there and fed the transom out to make it nice and flat. And then I've come through behind him and fit those off. I've got a little bit of footage there on the water. Can't wait to get that out in the ocean and test it in some rough conditions, but initially it looks and feels really good. I'm actually extremely impressed with it. So a bit of footage there, so check out the 35 Caribbean with the Humphree Lightning interceptors on it. We'll catch up again on the 760 enclosed Haines Hunter behind me. Long running project. I'm sure many of you have been following it week after week. Again, we are inching closer and closer. I think we're probably, I reckon we'll see week 40, week 41, we'll be done with this boat, or very close to it, let's put it that way. It still needs to go off and get these big Mercuries here commissioned. But yeah, I'll run through some of what we've done there. The behind the helm is just looking amazing. Put a big effort into the bilge. I had to climb in. I spent a full day. Talk about claustrophobia, mate. That bilge was just, it's the stuff that nightmares are made of. For someone my size, I'm only short, so I'm the only one in my workshop that can actually get in there. Anyhow, I'm still feeling the pain and the effects from it, but we've got all the transducer holes drilled, the through-hole pickups drilled, and boys have done an absolutely amazing job on the plumbing of everything. So we'll get in there and have a really good look through that as well. And then last for this week's video, we've got brand new to the workshop, this guy right behind me. This is a 720 Cruisecraft Explorer. It's in for Minn Kota Instinct Quest. We've used one of Angus's from First Light Fabrications bracket, and very, very impressed. That was a very straightforward fit, so well done to the guys over at First Light Fab. Check them out if you're in the market for a factory bracket. Basically, they've got a great range of those and adding to them all the time. It's just bolts straight down. So we're doing that. We're also doing Seakeeper Ride on it, so we'll get into that and have a look through the 720 Cruisecraft Explorer as well. As I mentioned earlier, we're in the midst of a workshop move at the moment, standing inside the new workshop. So we've moved the electrical fit out workshop into the adjoining workshop from where it was originally. So basically it's directly right next door. I'll go and show you inside the original shop as well and just show you the state that's in at the moment. We're in the process of emptying it, cleaning it, and next week, week 40 and 41, we'll be moving in Gone Fishing Marine and Shane's team, where we will start doing our mechanical and fabrication services. So we're back in the original shed here at the moment. We'll start to see things are starting to look a lot emptier, bit of a mess. It is hurting me seeing it in this condition, but we've spent a whole weekend in here starting to relocate. It is no fun, let me just tell you that much, but it's going to be worth it in the end. Being able to have mechanical, fabrication and electrical all in the one building is just going to be absolutely sensational for us, for our customers. Yeah, looking forward to it. Be glad when the whole move's over. It's never fun, but yeah, again, it'll be well worth it in the end. So keep updated on our socials as we're moving through all that. Getting straight into it, the 575 Cruisecraft Explorer. Let's jump in, check out all the progress for this week. So the 575 Outsider, we are powered up. There's the Aegis remote battery isolators wired up, ready to go. You can see the rod holder drain underneath there. Also plumbed up, running down, so that's going to divert any water. Very good practice to get into. Start battery, that's a Super Start dry cell AGM battery. It's in, mounted. That's sitting on our Barji Marine custom battery blocks, strapped down. Got a couple of spare cables there. We always bring a couple of spares down to the back for redundancy's sake, in case the customer decides to ever add anything in the future. We go to a lot of trouble to run our wiring harnesses very neatly. The downside of that is it's more problematic to try and add something later, so we always try and build that redundancy in with spare cabling. Up here we've got our earth bus. It's all in, mounted, wired up, covers on. Moving around, you see the bilge, we're also all wired up. Up here, all the rod holder drains are in. That's what those clear pipes are here. They're draining these spigots up here, so that's a very common place for water to get in and start damaging things in and around these areas. If I can get up here, I'll show you. There you go. You can see the rod holder drain at the bottom of the bait board spigot, and that's plumbed up using this clear tube which drains down into the bilge. So yeah, no water in here, which is a very good thing. And then we've got, you can see here, we've got some strip light cable tied in. So we've got some red under gunnel strip lighting, and that runs underneath all the gunnels on both sides. I'll turn that on in a moment and show you how that works. Got our DC charger in there. Still got a few cable ties here that we need to trim and cut, but we'll catch all that in the finishing. Let's move across to the other side and show you around as well. So just on the other side of that DC charger, you can see it underneath there. Another earth bus distribution block, and we've got the VoltGo 200 amp hour 12 volt battery, so an absolute ton of power there. Got also a set of Barji Marine battery blocks just chocking out the corners. All the cables all labelled, and then in here we've got some studs. We've actually built a bit of a shroud, a custom shroud with 3D printed over the stud just to try and protect it. They're the type of stud that doesn't come with any cover, so guys have gone off and created one of our own, which is cool. And then you can see here in the back of our circuit breakers there. I'll come around the other side and show you what they look like. There they are. 3 circuit breakers, they still need some labels on it. And then we've got our 24/7 power supply and fuse block here, which we spoke about in last week's video, but that basically means anything that needs battery power all the time, regardless of where the battery isolators are, so things like bilge pumps, that's where we fuse them from. So we've got our fusion, back of our fusion speaker here. Still got a few cable ties to trim. These are the Fusion XS speakers. We've got a trolling motor plug here, which we use for electric reels, downriggers, all that sort of thing. Backlit switch panel up on the transom. Then moving forward, another speaker, a new interior light. Over here we've got another trolling motor plug, again for either downrigger electric reels, fridge, freezer, whatever it might be. Same here, customer wanted an Anderson plug on this, but we've put another one there. Got power outlets everywhere in this boat, there's absolutely no shortage of it. And then over on the starboard side, another backlit switch panel. We've got this panel finally mounted back in. Another power socket here, got the JL Media Master 50 mounted in front of the binnacle. Another power outlet just here. That's just a cigarette style. And then underneath the console, or sorry, underneath this side panel, you've been seeing this for the last few weeks in videos. It's where we've got the network expansion port, the NEP2, anchor winch solenoid, 3D structure scan, some more spare fused cables here. Again, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spares, and we've got different thickness gauged cable here too, 4 and 6 mil, to make sure we've got plenty of redundancy built in. NME 2000 up in here. Oh, can we get to it? Yep, there you go. All labelled. Everything's getting a little bit harder to see now because I've got this side panel back on. Over at the helm, you've seen most of this I think in last week's video and probably the last 2 weeks, not too much change there. Simrads are in, everything's wired up. You can see here we bring on our batteries, so we just here we'll go, let's bring on house battery. See that here, house battery, turn that on. There you go, you hear the click and the boat powers up just like that. Backlighting in the switch panels on. That's the VHF. The stereo's on. 2 Simrads have booted up. This is a Evo 3 12 and this is an Evo 3S 12. And then we've got the 7-inch here, which is running as the vessel view screen. If we turn the start battery on, go, you'll see vessel view here boot up with the key. There we go, up and running. So we've got the Victron servo connected to this boat, so we've actually got battery monitoring directly out of the Voltgo lithium battery on the Simrad screens. So you can see that on any of the screens. If you wanted to go to your chart plotter, you've got the little Victron app here, which is really cool. Go chart. And on this one here, you've got exactly what your battery's doing. So yeah, very, very cool feature. So shows here also, shows this is basically saying alternator, but what that means is it's the DC-DC charger. So it sees that as an alternator and it will show the amps going in. Yeah, and how much is being consumed. So you can see there at the moment with the boat just powered up like we did, we are drawing minus 8.4 amps. So it's quite efficient in all fairness. That is one great looking helm for a 575 cruise craft. See here, if I bring on the gunnel lights, there you go, got all the under gunnel lighting all the way through, right from the front into the bilge area as well, which I think is important so that you can service the bilge at night if there's a leak or there's something there you've got to clean out. All the way through there you can see the red lighting from the under gunnel lights. Off and on. Now just inside the helm, we are all but done here. We're just doing all the covers, all the labelling for the fuse covers, but all the rigging's done. It's nice and neat, just as you would expect it. That's the shore power inlet there, got the extension lead in which brings the battery chargers on, which are in here. can see a pair of Victron 25 amp chargers, and there's a voltage converter for the Starlink, which we also spoke about last week. So yeah guys, just about done. Another day on this next week and we will be ready to put this on the water. At the front, we've just in the process of spooling up the drum winch. That's the Lone Star drum anchor winch. The guys for Specialised Marine Flooring have supplied this bit of U-deck for the bow, which matches the C-deck it's got on the cockpit floor. Yeah, I think that looks really neat. If you go back through a few weeks worth of videos, you'll see we had to do some repairs to cover some existing holes and damage from the original anchor winch, which we've got them all sealed up now, and that piece of U-deck I think does a beautiful job of tidying up the bowsprit. 239 FS Key West, it is done, waiting for a water test. So a quick recap, got the 450 Seakeeper ride system there. We've got Hella A2 underwater lights, they're the RGB, colour changing. The other side, the Seakeeper ride system. And there's our custom Seakeeper Telenco gland covers, made in-house. Climb aboard, check everything else out. On this rear seat under this hatch, we've installed the Seakeeper ride distribution module. You can see that nice and neatly installed there on that wall. The CAN bus T's there as well, situated nice and high, so if there was ever water to get into this compartment, it'll stay nice and dry. All powered up. You see the dual Garmin 1653 displays turned on. Backlight switch panel built into our single piece of black acrylic. And you've just seen in the videos from recent weeks, we had all the back of this dash strengthened by the shipwrights to accommodate these new screens and the new switch panel. Got the Seakeeper ride connected here as well. You can see the keypad firing up. There's the Yamaha interface. Looking good. And moving into the center console. Starting at the front, you can see we've installed our 36 volt 20 amp lithium battery charger. That is a full IP67 waterproof charger. Installed circuit breaker, installed that on a bit of black board as well. And then down here we've got the BLA 36 volt 100 amp hour lithium battery, also mounted on a piece of black board. King starboard there on the Barji Marine battery block system. Keeping that nice and secure, neat and tidy. And then we swing around, see the job's come up nice and neat here. Behind the 16-inch Garmin screens, back of our switch panel all nicely rigged. The customer had already done a little bit of tidying up work on this, namely this termination strip and this Blue Seas 12-way fuse holder. No point us going back in and reinventing the wheel there, that's all good workmanship. So we've just come through and done a little bit of tidy up on some other areas like the NMEA 2000 network, the Seakeeper ride module, IMU, and the wiring harness. And then we've installed a pair of dry power AGM lead acid batteries here, and they're both sitting on our Barji Marine battery block system as well. So you can see the corner blocks, the straps coming over. And all in all, that's come up really, really nice and neat, very functional and extremely reliable. The boys have done a great job here. In the bilge of the Key West, we've installed a new Auto Sahara 1200 gallon per hour bilge pump, and we've installed a Bait Century
That's a 1100 gallon per hour. No, that's not actually, it's an 800 gallon per hour pump on a super sucker, high speed pickup, and a true design mini ball valve there. Nice and neat and functional inside the bilge. That's the low profile, high speed super sucker through hole water pickup. They create very little turbulence and scoop good amount of water into the pumps. Big fan of these. They're a bit of a pain to install because of the size of the hole we've got to put through the bottom, but once they're in, they're worth the effort. And for transducers, you see down here, we've installed a Garmin GT56 through hole transducer, and that's one on one of our custom high-speed 3D printed fairing blocks, which allow us to install that on the dead rise. So that's printed to, I think it's like 18 or 19 degree dead rise. And now, yeah, it sits here in front of the, it's about midship in this Key West, so in front of the step. It's neat as a pin, beautiful. And then down on the starboard side, we've installed a Garmin GT17M. That's a 1 kilowatt medium chap. That's a proprietary Garmin through hole transducer. Looks identical in most ways to the AMR, but made by Garmin. Great little transducers. 760 enclosed Haines Hunter. We're back in the big 760 Haines Hunter. And I'll show you where I spent a day. See that little hole in there? Well, I was actually able to climb in and help the boys with the plumbing work on this boat, plus drill all the through holes for transducers and water pickups. Let me tell you, I'm still aching from it. Get back down there a bit further and show you a little bit more of what we've been doing. So I'm in the bilge here now. There you can see a nice 95mm hole. That's for one of the 2 through hole transducers. And there's the other, just underneath those bits of pipe. And then we've got a couple of holes here as well for some custom through hole high speed water pickups we've had made. These are actually going to be 1 inch diameter, so the most common size that you see is 3/4 or 19mm thereabouts, but because we're running some big pumps in this, we've had some custom ones made. It's going to be very hard to see, but in behind here we went in and replaced all of the skin fittings. The customer didn't want any plastic ones, which is what this boat was supplied with, so they're all 316 stainless steel now. Actually, if we get up here, you'll see some in there. There's an outlet there for the gyro seawater pump, and then we've got some bilge pump outlets there as well. We've connected up the drain for that's the live bait tank, and we've done that on both sides. Here in on the port side now, this is the drain for the live bait tank pump, and this is the bottom of the slimy tube. So it's got a pair of slimy tubes on each side, and that's how we've got them wired up. It was very fiddly, very awkward, tight spot to get into. I'm not sure if the video does that full justice, but yeah, not a lot of fun. Let me give you the ticket. In the transom behind the hatches, done some beautiful work in here. Alright, have a look at that. So the fuel filters are in. These are the mercury fuel filters. See the drain coming off the bottom of the bait board spigot. And then check this out, guys. Here's the plumbing for the slimy tubes and the live bait tank pump. See that we've 3D printed our own pipe clamps, you can call it. They clip in and clip out, but makes this super rigid, super strong. Customer actually asks for something a little bit better, a little bit more robust, and so that's what we've come up with. I'm sure you'll agree that looks amazingly neat and tidy in there on that transom. We also had a piece of thermalite made so that we could screw these off into this and not put penetrations into the anchor well, so you can't see any fixings in the engine well. And then we've got some labels there. These are the new True Design ball valves. These are the micro ball valves, nice and small. And you can control flow to either the bait tank pump or the slimy tubes using those. They still need to be plumbed off because I need to get back in there next week and finish mounting the pumps and the transducers, but yeah, you can't wait for that. You can see the pipe running up. That's on another one of our pipe clamps there. But very, very happy with how that's come up. That is so neat and tidy and functional. And this is here on the starboard side. The Aegis battery isolators, we've flush mounted those as well. They've got all their labels as now. We are so close to wrapping this up. Another day in that bilge, probably the rest of the week in behind the helm, which we'll go and check out now, but getting closer. Up on the roof of the 760 cruise craft, we've installed a Starlink there. That's a new addition. It's just sitting in behind the FLIR camera. So that Starlink's going to be used for offshore communications and connections to these Furuno unit there. That's the Furuno XL TZT16, which can take Wi-Fi, and then we can use the Starlink here to download current weather, sea surface imagery, all that really cool stuff. And as you can see there, that's sitting in our custom-made Barji Marine flat mount mounts for Starlink Mini. In behind the helm of the 760 Haines Hunter again, making some good progress. You saw last week we got all the earth bus wired in and completed, and now we're in doing the circuit breaker board. So we're starting to terminate all these positive cables off to the back of the breaker board. And you can see even when we're doing that, we're still labeling everything as well. We've had this panel, we changed and pivoted a little bit from what we were doing. You saw a couple of weeks ago we had a big acrylic panel in here, and I was very worried that the bait of this has actually got a big stainless surround on it, that it was going to eventually break that acrylic. So we've gone back to a fiberglass panel, and we've had the shipwrights sand and fair that, and then 2-pack paint that in metallic silver, which is exactly the same colour as the cowlings, or the gearboxes rather, on those Mercuries and the hard top. And in this section here there's going to be a piece of acrylic, so it'll be clear and you'll be able to see everything in there. Got it all taped up at the moment, but I'm sure you can imagine how nice that looks. Just adds a bit more of a premium touch, a bit of more of a high-end feel, which is exactly what we're delivering in this boat. And it's going to be the same here. The cover that's going in behind the back of the helm there, that's also been faired, sanded and 2-packed metallic silver. Can't wait to show you guys what that looks like when that's all back together, which hopefully be within the next week. Stay tuned for that though. Next up, the new boat into the workshop here is a beautiful 720 Explorer cruise craft. I really dig the colour here, this grey over white. Looks so modern and clean. Big fan. Let's jump in, check out work and progress on the 720 Explorer cruise craft. So at the front of the 720 EX hardtop cruise craft, on a bit of a run of cruise crafts of late. It's been really good. Anyhow, this is the first one that we've fitted a Minn Kota Instinct Quest to. This is the 72-inch model, and that's sitting on a First Light fabrication trolling motor bracket. That's an aluminium fabricated bracket, powder coated white, nice and strong, suits the contour of the boat. This was a really straightforward fit, which is what we like, and very cost effective really for what it is. We've gone there and trimmed the bow rail. Still need to get that modified and finished off properly, but the motor sits up there very nicely. Retain the very front section of bow rail, which is nice. And yeah, there you have it. So cabled up, running in and through the deck. This one's mounted permanently, so no need for a quick release plug on this one. Yeah, looking brilliant. Something you don't see every day on these cruise crafts is a side door. Very happy to have one. It makes working on them so much easier. So yeah, just climbing inside the cruise craft now.
everything's a bit of a mess because obviously we're in the midst of fitting off the trolling motor battery. Customers also been getting a lot of flat batteries, so we're trying to fault find and diagnose that. It turns out yet another one of these Century Marine Pro batteries was completely fried. That battery's only just 12 months old, I believe, so probably still well within its warranty period, but I don't know if anyone else has been having problems with them, but we've got way more of these in our dead battery pile than anything else. So yeah, maybe the quality's changed, I'm not sure what's going on. But we've got all the battery isolators pulled apart because we just wanted to try and work out and explain to the customer how it's been configured because he wasn't too sure. He's got an Enerdrive VSR wired in, so everything's not looking too bad in that space, which is surprising because there's a rod holder right there. Oh no, look at that, see, it's actually drained. So that hose that you can see coming down is the drain off the rod holder, so that would explain why the back of these isolators are looking pretty good. That there is a circuit breaker we've installed for the Minn Kota, and we're planning to install the 36 volt BLA battery down in this back aft corner on the starboard side. So got the blocks in there, they're very hard to see at the moment with this battery sitting in there, but it fits in there. And then we'll be relocating the start and house battery a little bit further forward. We're going to replace both these Centuries and go with some dry power AGMs. On the port side, we've got that hatch removed. There's a little bit of ugliness going on here. Someone's added a second bilge pump, put it on a simple rocker switch here, although there was some spare switches in the actual switch panel, which I'll come back to in a minute. But yeah, this battery was giving some problems, so that's another battery that we'll be pulling out and replacing. While we're in here, I'm going to be replacing this switch panel. The reason being, have a look at that. That corrosion is just becoming, we're seeing that more and more in these cruise crafts. If you own one of these, make sure, and if I just go in here, you'll see the culprit. You see that tube, that stainless tube there? Well, if I come up, there you go. We spoke about it earlier. We've spoken about it 100 times before. The bait board spigots are not drained. They just run water straight down, hits that corrugated split tube. I'm trying to put some light on it. There you go, that split tube runs down the harness and just causes all sorts of problems here in these connectors. We call that green death. Yep, have a look at that. All right, so all of a sudden you start getting these weird gremlins going on. Things aren't working. These are probably C's that tight, I can't even get them apart, but I'm sure you get the picture. And then you can see here on the back of the switch panel as well, also going all green. If I pull the cover off, you see all the corrosion here on the LED light strips and the terminations there. So, needless to say, we'll be plumbing up these rod holder spigots, just like we've shown you on that 575 and multiple other boats over the years. And then we'll be building a new custom backlit switch panel to go in here, cover all these old switches, label them something that makes sense, backlight it, waterproof it, rewire all this mess, and we'll get some reliability back down here at the transom of the 720 cruise craft. All right, over at the helm of the cruise craft, see here we've installed a Minn Kota on-off power switch. So that's if you forget to turn it on in the morning, you can do that all from the comfort of your helm. The Minn Kota doesn't turn on and off with battery power or the circuit breaker, unfortunately, like some other brands do. We've had to pull this side panel out, as you can see here. Unfortunately, we've had to relocate the autopilot pump. Sorry, not the pump, the autopilot computer. See that there? That's the actual autopilot pump. To make room for some of the Seakeeper ride system components, which we're also installing on this boat. I'll go and show you the Seakeeper ride install there in a minute. Customers also complaining about terrible autopilot heading hold. So we're going to take this on the water and recalibrate and reset up the Simrad autopilot. That's the Simrad autopilot controller there. Down on the transom of the cruise craft, you can see we're in the early stages of fitting off the Seakeeper ride controllers. These have been glued on, so we've done all the prep work prior to using the methacrylate that we used to glue these on. It's all been sanded back, so the gel coat's gone back to fiberglass. Now that's glued in position, we can finish fitting this off. It takes usually around a day to cure, sometimes a bit longer depending on the climate and the conditions. There you go, we got another cruise craft leaving with the Seakeeper Ride 450 system, one of the best things you can do to a cruise craft if you're looking to improve the ride from what it is currently with the old boring Lenco system. Tool time. Let's check out what the tool of the week is. And this week it is probably one of the simplest things you could imagine. These are called side cutters, for those of you that aren't familiar, but more importantly, these are called flush cut side cutters. So anyone that's worked in and around cable ties will be familiar with it. When someone doesn't use this style of flush cut side cutter, they leave these dagger edges on the end of the cable ties, which just cut the absolute crap out of your arms. So with flush cuts, it does exactly as it says. If I can get this in here and get it focusing, you can see there, it's nice and flush on the top. There's no sharp edges, nothing that you can cut yourself on. That's compared to, say, using a set of pliers like this, which is just a traditional set of, these are just a Nipex side cutter. Whereas when you cut those, you end up with that tail on the end here, right there, you see that? And that absolutely is a disaster to your forearms. So you can get in here with a set of flush cuts, trim that off, and then you get a nice flat end here on your cable tie and nothing there to go and cut your arms on. Absolute criminal if you're not using these and you're dealing with cable ties. There is absolutely nothing worse for us than sticking your hand in, trying to get under a gunnel and picking up the sharp edge of one of these when just a simple pair of flush cuts. So guys, if you're playing with cable ties, get yourself a set of these. You'll be doing all of us a favor. So the Barji Marine product of the week is our custom made heavy duty AMR 1 kilowatt transducer bracket. We specifically designed these brackets to do everything that the standard AMR bracket won't do. This is a lot stronger. So it's made from 4mm thick 316 stainless steel, and it's also hinged. So you can see here, we've got a full range of adjustment to suit all different transom angles, and where you want to get in and try and fine tune the transducer and the way it's reading, you don't need these annoying black shims that, or wedges rather, that the standard bracket's supplied with. So yeah, you can get the alignment and the angle of the transducer absolutely perfect straight off the bracket now. We also do a deeper shim here, so if you're trying to get the transducer down to make it read better, you can order that separately when you're ordering these online on our website at www.barjimarine.com.au. So we can give you a different thickness packer there, but the most common one there is 10mm thick. Most people can get that and get more than perfect readings with it. It's got exactly the same mounting position as the standard AMR transducer bracket in every way, so you don't need to go and re-drill holes. You can use the original holes. And we also include now a spray shield here as well. So we had some feedback from the original ones where people were getting a little bit of spray pushing off the front of this and coming up through that gap. So now that spray shield in there stops all the spray. You've got a heavy duty bracket, got no flex, no vibration like the original ones do, and no annoying pins, which also are for the habit of just flicking up, and then all of a sudden you don't even realize it, but your transducer's only mounted on the top pins and it's not secure. So no vibration, which transducers absolutely enjoy. Full range of adjustment and strength that just can't be beaten. So there it is, guys. That is the Barji Marine 1 kilowatt transducer bracket. We've got the same thing made for Garmin PS70s as well, so that you can transom mount a PS70, and we've all got those available for Fruno DFF. So the TM54 transducer, got the same style bracket for it, and we've also just about to release a bracket that suits the MRB275, so the bronze through hole transducer. Now you can mount that on the transom, which I really like because they've got that nice hydrodynamic shape, teardrop shape, so you can go and whack these on the transom, and also be doing these in aluminium as well for aluminium boats. So guys, check them out if you want to improve your 1 kilowatt transducer readings. Give our brackets a go. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Cheers. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode, week 39 of our weekly workshop walkthrough videos. Hope you've seen something that you've enjoyed, maybe learn a thing or two, which was always the most important thing. Guys, like always, if you see anything here that you'd like to know more about, feel free to leave me a comment. Do my best to get back to all those comments. You can reach out to me via all our other social media handles, email, phone, etc., etc. Thank you again to my team for another massive effort this week. We've got so much going on with the workshop move, relocation, new staff and new businesses coming in here shortly as well. There is just so much going on. So thank you for keeping up the intensity and, as always, the high quality of workmanship. It is greatly appreciated. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That's probably enough of me waffling on. Like always, if you see something that you like, feel free to share it with your mates, give the video a like. And if you want to be kept up to date whenever we release these weekly videos, hit the subscribe button and you'll get notified as soon as we upload our next weekly workshop walkthrough video. All right, well, that's it. Thank you once again for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Stay safe, and until next week, tight lines. We'll catch you later. See ya.